Hi everybody, and welcome to this edition of Sports Talk. I'm your host, Jimmy Allinder, and with me is the Supervisor of Athletics for East Brunswick High School, Frank Noppenberger. Frank, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me, and again, thank you to you and Charlie and Richie and everyone else and Stu who helped out with broadcasting the games this winter. We really appreciate it.
And what a winter season it has been, and as continues to be, as a matter of fact. As we're recording here tonight, there's a game that's going to be played with East Brunswick girls versus Marlboro in the Central Jersey Group 4 final. So the winter sports schedule continues, but what we wanted to do, as we usually do at this time, is take a look at the individual sports that were played this past winter and get your comments, mention as many names as you possibly can. Let's look at the records. And then with time permitting, we'll have a few other questions for you.
Sounds good to me.
All righty, so let's get right out of the vault and look into boys basketball. Finished with a less than 500 record, coached by Bo Henning. They finished 10-12. Would you characterize it as a disappointing season?
No, I would probably label it as a up and down season. We had a bad stretch in 3/4 of the way through the season where we lost some we should have won. It hurt us in the seeding for the conference tournament, and it certainly hurt us not qualifying for the states. And that's what happens with the schedule we play in the group in the red division. You can't take a night off. And we were caught napping, or we just got a bad streak, and we lost a few. But we were a quality club, and it was evident that we took St. Joe's down to the wire 3 straight times. We beat Colonia. So, and you know, we beat Perth. So we were a quality club. I guess it was just the inconsistency. And that happens when you don't have a pure shooter out there. But, you know, we got Gordon Hurley. He's an outstanding athlete. He's scholarshiped. He's going to Stony Brook in Long Island. So we had, you know, an up and down season. We had a little nagging injuries here and there. Danny Miller, I think it took him a while to get back into the basketball groove.
Another scholarship player.
Another scholarship, soccer this time, to Duke. Then we had Jay Jones, who an underclassman who was, you know, first full year really playing with us, a little inconsistency. Zach Simi, who could have been a leading scorer for us. He was hurt throughout the year. I mean, didn't even play. But we still had some, you know, some good efforts out there on our, Bobby Mineta did a good job for us all year. Just inconsistency and some letdowns, not defensively, just offensively, not being able to put the ball in the hole. Right. It's no lack of effort by the coaches or the players, and we're proud to say that they water East Brunswick very well.
Yeah, what's the future hold for the basketball program? Is this the second year in a row that they did not qualify for the state?
No, they qualified.
They did last year.
We had a real good year last year.
You're right, obviously.
We have young players. Like I said, we have the Danny Fessel. He's coming back for us. We got Jay Jones coming back. Zach Simi should be able to play for us next year. So we got some young kids coming back that'll have to step it up. And it's all done in the off season. You and I have spoken about that many a times. And I think they got the right attitude. They got the certainly got the opportunity to improve themselves if they want to.
Okay. Any other seniors you want to mention? You mentioned Mineta. Gordon
well, now you're putting me on the spot.
Oh, well, you don't have to mention every one of them.
During the
all right, we'll check back with you on that. Right. Okay. Let's look at the boys' winter track team. Actually, let's look at both the boys and the girls. First, the boys, coached by Kevin McAvoy. The team finished with a 4-0 dual meet record.
It's an asterisk in there.
Why is that?
As in the girls. The girls were what? They were 2-1.
Coached by Brian Merrigan.
Right. Brian and Kevin did a great job, especially keeping the interest of the kids during the snow. Both seasons were incomplete, so there were no champion in either division. In the red division for boys, red division for girls, because we could not get the season in.
How come? What's the problem?
Oh, that was good. I almost answered that. you got me.
Did snow have something to do with
Yeah,
it?
we just, you know, running outdoors, and we pride ourselves on the dual meet team. We like to
Sure.
get kids involved, a lot of kids running. We got more than most schools in. We doubled up a couple times. But we had some individual, Ryan Williams, who's a junior, and Alex Schatzkoff, a senior, distance runners. They both made all conference on their performance at the county conference championship. And Zena Hazori and Brittany Hahn did a great job on the girls' side. We weren't able to really put it in full stride, is that a cliche, with track because of the inconsistency. But there was a good attitude all year, all season. And hopefully, spring sports started today, believe it or not, and again, there's snow all over. And I think it'll carry off into a good spring for the track teams.
That was going to be my question. I was going to ask before, the field conditions, obviously there's still snow on the ground. How does a track team prepare, other than run indoors? I guess that's about the only thing they can do.
We run the parking lot down the old driving range.
Okay.
We run the sidewalk coming up to the hill. We run the hallways in school.
Right.
You know, supervised. It's all. No one's going to get hurt. It's not like kids are walking in the hallway.
I understand.
And we do the, excuse me, the best we can where we can.
Right. So you pick the javelin throw right through the halls. Is that how it works?
No, actually, they were just running. The javelin is done in the classrooms.
Gotcha.
We pick out a spot on the new blackboard.
You're serious. My son's a javelin thrower, and I know that all he has been doing is running in the halls. That's about all you can do is condition for the field events.
Well, I mean, it's interesting, like Doug Parker, he's very innovative. You can get your steps down, you can get your slides down, and your timing down without throwing. There's a zillion things you can do.
Sure, absolutely. So track being what it is, you don't focus as much on the dual meets, but you also get to run at Lawrenceville. They have an indoor track facility,
Correct.
Princeton, and that sort of thing.
Right.
So some of the field events are competed on. Are they?
Yes, the javelin's not, but they do the high jump, they do the shot indoor, the long jump. Not the long jump, the high jump.
Right.
They still had their conference and state championships. The dual meet season was not completed.
What kind of spring team do you think is going to come as a result of this winter track success?
I think we got a shot at beating Old Bridge girls. We'll have to step it up in a few different events, and the boys got a real good shot too. Boys have a nice shot of maybe winning the division.
And they always get challenged by St. Joe's. And Old Bridge.
We've been going back and forth with St. Joe's. We beat them in the winter, but yeah, it'll go back and forth. But I think we're going to have strong spring boys and girls track this year.
Okay. I see we have cheerleading in there, and I have to tell you, do we include the bear mascot in with the cheerleading program? Because I have to tell you, I was very impressed by the bear mascot this year. Got my attention. Is that bear part of the cheerleading program?
It's part of the athletic program.
Part of the athletic program. Let's look at cheerleading.
Usually we have tryouts.
Is that so?
Coach Adams runs that. Coach Adams, our cheerleading coach, by the way, she had a baby girl the other night.
Excellent.
Right.
That's great. Congratulations.
She runs
to her.
that tryout. Sometimes there's like 8 people involved trying out. Sometimes there's just a couple. But she pretty much handles that part. It's just a little school spirit type thing and takes away the monotony, timeouts or whatever. But our cheerleaders, we had 3 All-Americans, and Coach Adams is real proud of them, as we are. And I got to mention Alexandra Rothman, Ashley Thomas, and Lindsay Vyman were All-Americans. That's done in the summertime at a camp where they have competition. And our captains were Lindsay Vyman, who was All-American, and Kaylee Russo. And thank you, girls, for having a great season. Hopefully
No injuries?
No injuries. Hopefully
that's
we have
great.
a couple more games left in us, but they may be cheering their last game tonight.
Right. And cheerleading, that's what I was going to say, cheerleading is not something that takes place in the spring, does it?
Competition cheerleading
Okay.
That's a whole different animal. Most schools have a cheerleading squad like we have, and they have a competition squad that goes just into competition. I'm not sure if we're ready for that.
Okay.
A, facilities, and B, could we get the kids? Yeah, we could probably get the athletes out there.
Sure.
But you know, money is always the answer, not the answer, but a reason sometimes not to have things.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, all right, let's take a look at the girls' basketball program. Reggie Carney, this is it for him. He's already announced that he won't be back. The record right now is 21-6. Just celebrated or accomplished the 300th victory of his East Brunswick career.
Correct. He's at 597 in his career.
Oh,
697. No, 597, right? 597.
Gosh, 3 more
career.
just to get. So I guess he'd have to have a run here towards the latter stages.
Possible. It's possible.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you that he's retiring before that, because to him that was, you know, it was time. It didn't matter if it was 100 wins, 200 wins, or 500 wins. He's not staying on just to get another extra couple wins to break that barrier.
Before we look, well, let's look at the basketball program first, because I want to get back to Reggie. This is a very special group of girls, tremendous athletes, not the least of which was Heather O'Reilly, who, as we all know, was just awarded the Gatorade Athlete of the Year.
The National Gatorade Soccer Player of the Year. And we're the first school in the history of this award, which is 18 years old, to have a boys' state player of the year, who was Danny Miller.
Right.
And a girls' state player of the year, who was, of course, Heather. First time ever.
Right.
And they were both honored at that press conference we had the other day. And I just got a banner yesterday, as a matter of fact, that said Danny Miller, Gatorade State Player of the Year.
So he'll get that.
Yeah, well, I showed it to Danny, and we're going to hang it up in the gym with Heather's when we settle down a little bit. It's been a little hectic lately. It
has. More accomplishments by the girls' team. Jill Masterton, who I understand has got a scholarship to play softball.
I think she's going to Lafayette.
She's going to Lafayette, that's what
I'm not sure about scholarship. Okay. I'm sure she could play D1 basketball somewhere.
She could.
She's just a great all-around player, great timing, great competitive skills.
Sure.
One of my favorites. I just love watching her play because she's a poised kid out there.
Yeah.
She also became a 1,000-point scorer a few games ago, a nice milestone for her.
And how about the rest of the team, their accomplishments?
I think it's a real team. Every game we win is a real team effort, and it's led by Jill. I mean, I just enjoy watching her play. Her all-around game is as good as anyone we've had. She's just one of my favorites. Sylvia, obviously, Sylvia Majansky was an all-division player.
Is that how it's pronounced?
For today it is.
Could get
for today it is.
Okay, I never could get it straight, but go ahead.
Right. She just a force inside for us. And then the twins, we got Justine and Jenna Barbado did a great job filling in. I think they did more than fill in. I didn't mean fill in, but taking the pressure off of Jill to be the scorer.
Oh, I see.
Jamie Assini, she could hit the three. Very streaky shooter, but very confident player. I thought she came in her own this year. I really liked the way she played. And and of course there was Heather, and who just had a great game against Hunterdon Central the other day up at the state tournament.
She was the difference.
She had a couple key foul shots, a couple floating jumpers. But Sylvia had high score, I believe. She had a big first half, and then Jill was her consistent self.
Yeah. Reggie Carney, we talked about his record at East Brunswick. It had to be a difficult decision for him. Had he talked about this in the past to you, thinking about stepping down? Did this come as a surprise? And I got to ask you, even though the season's still going on, where do you go from here? I mean, how do you replace somebody like that?
Well, I'm not sure if you can replace a Reggie Carney. And you can't be a Reggie Carney. Reggie Carney's Reggie Carney. So if somebody comes in and wants to try to be like him, they can't do it. He's a unique individual. And most of his success is because the relationships he creates with the kids. The kids really enjoy his company. He's positive to the nth degree with them. And they play hard for him. He's not a screamer or a hollerer. He'll tell them exactly the way it is. And they play hard for Reggie. He was a plus to the entire school system, especially the athletic program. We'll miss him. I'm sure we'll get someone that can do a job. I don't know if they'll do the job like Reggie. I don't know if anybody can. Maybe they'll do the better job. Who knows?
How's the process work? Just to refresh my memory, the job needs to be posted inside the school system.
It gets posted, and then there's applicants, and then there's an interview process, and then a recommendation is made.
Right. Is there a chance that with the reputation of the East Brunswick basketball program that you might be able to attract a really like a high-profile candidate from?
Oh, I'm sure we'll attract high-profile people, and I'm sure at the same time that'll turn people off. The key in coaching is you follow a bum, and then you look good. You follow a legend, and you know, he's no Reggie Carney, or she's no Reggie Carney, or whatever. So, you know, once you're following someone like Reggie, it's difficult, and there's a lot of pressure. And most coaches, especially at our place, the pressure they put on them, they put their own pressure on themselves to win. It's not from me or the board or anyone, it's from themselves because of the competition within themselves. So there'll be a lot of pressure on this person to try to do as good as or better than Reggie. But I'm sure we'll get a good candidate. But, you know, when you look at it too, we only probably got about 40 or 60 points coming back. There's not a lot of letter winners coming back. I think we only got 2 coming back, and their experience is somewhat limited. So whoever is the coach will have to do some work. It'll have to be done in the summer. They'll have to develop in the summer, weight lift, get bigger, stronger, faster. And well, the JVs under Katie Whalen had a real good year, but that's a big difference. JV basketball to varsity, completely different ball game.
Right. Okay, we'll see where it goes. Let's move on to another sport, boys and girls bowling, coached by Jeff Elias. The boys finished with an 8-9-2 record, and the girls finished 10-9-1. The matches are over at the old Carrier Lanes.
Right, still there.
Okay.
Good season for them. Qualified, both did well in the states, better than they expected in the sectionals. In the county tournament, they probably went as far as they could. Middlesex County bowling is pretty strong, and I know Coach Elias and the kids are very happy with their performance. We didn't win a medal or we didn't win a championship, but they're very happy with their performance. 2 outstanding boys were Doug Spieshak and Jeff Boley. Good years for us. And for the girls, we had Michelle Anderson, who was also outstanding volleyball player for us, and Karen Pulaski. And, you know, bowling's one of those sports where the kids got to do it on the off season. Again, they've got to get better in the off season by bowling all year round.
Can't that be said of every sport these days? I know that there are a lot of multi-sport athletes, Danny Miller, Heather, for instance, but we really have arrived, even in high school sports, in an age of specialization, where you almost need to pick a particular sport and then on the off season work on improving yourself.
Exactly, but what I mean is in baseball, the coach that American Legion team or the basketball, they can get them in the summer camp. In bowling, the kids got to get in, they go to the tournaments because the coach can't rent the bowling alley or say, hey, we're going to go to the bowling alley. The kids got to kind of motivate themselves to go there. It's like years ago, you'd say to the kids in basketball, all right, make sure you guys play all summer, and they'll play. But it's a little different. They've got to get in those tournaments on their own.
I understand. Okay, let's move on to wrestling, which was tremendously successful this year. The team just got edged out by Old Bridge, I think, in a couple of dual matches, but they really came on nice with a 13-4 record. Really some good quality wrestlers with individual accomplishments, coached by Glenn Pazinko. Talk about that team.
Well, Coach Scanlon, Coach Matt Pazinko, and Coach Terry are all assistants for that. We got 7 wrestling tonight at the regions out there at 100 and Central as we speak. Let's focus on the outstanding accomplishments rather than the 4. We were conference champs for the first time in 10 years. We won the district for for the first time in, I guess, around 10, 11 years.
That's the Old Bridge nemesis, right? And South Brunswick, too, right? They've always
Well,
been
yeah,
a nemesis in the
they've been
past.
pretty good in that, you're
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So we were able to beat them out. And we lost 4 matches, as you said, and it was always by 1 wrestler. So it's a 4-point, 6-point swing. And that's the difference. We just weren't able to do it, but we won the big ones. We won the district, we won the conference. We didn't win the division, but we were strong enough from top to bottom to a real team effort, as Coach Pazinko said. Some of the outstanding wrestlers, we got a Brian Ackerman. Of course, we got Nick Marone, who's an underclassman. He'll be next year. I'm moving this into next year, which we could be just as good.
I was wanted to ask you about next year. Is this a one-shot deal, or is there continuity?
Well, Nick Marone's coming back, Corey Richard's coming back, Matt Merrigan's coming back. These are kids that are either first or second in the district and or the conference tournament. John Clay's a senior who is a real leader for us. He will be graduating. But we have a lot of young kids coming back. We may need a little help in the upper weights, but we're going to be all right again next year. I think it's going to be the same type of club. They're going to drive you nuts. They're going to win by a few, or hopefully not, but lose by 1 or 2. But we'll be in contention again next year.
It's fun to be at a wrestling match, isn't it? It's fun.
It's fun to win at any event, Jim. Whatever
Not
it
only
is.
winning, but I have to tell you, I don't know. I'm going out on a limb here by saying this. The dedicated fans, the parents, they're really into the sport, and you see that at a wrestling
Well,
match.
wrestling fans, they know everyone. They'll tell you who was the county champ for East Brunswick in 1968. Tommy Lyons, our #1 fan, he knows all that. He'll start quoting me kids that they won, the districts, the county, the states, because if you're a wrestling fan, it's just inside you and it stays forever.
And there's a lot of respect for the other programs. It seems there's more of there's a healthy competition, but there's also, for instance, I know that the Old Bridge parents and fans, there's like a bond that goes on.
Well, you know what that is, Jim? That's because they do all these wrestling camps and tournaments together, and they end up sitting next to those people, and you become friends, and you realize, you know what? That Jimmy Allinder from Monroe, he's not a bad guy after all. Where in the past would be, oh, let's give him the evil eye over there. So
doesn't that still hold true with South River, though?
No.
It doesn't?
No,
Okay,
we have a great relationship with South River, especially with wrestling. Me being a graduate from there, and it's a good competition. We haven't had, there's never been a problem in a long, long time.
Right. All right, so congratulations to the wrestling program for having a great year. Let's move on to swimming. Girls finished with a 7-3-1 record. The boys finished 6-5-1, coached by Charlie Ganu. Genex, okay. Talk about the swimming program.
And Bill Pellegrino did the girls. Charlie's the head coach, but and Pelly is an assistant, but Pelly really does the girls. Coach Genex does the boys. As a matter of fact, Pelly's nominated to be the National Assistant Coach of the Year by Gatorade.
Isn't that
so we don't know what's going to
too.
happen with that, but he's up there. He's being considered. Okay, congratulations, swimming, boys and girls. First time in a long time that they both qualified for the states. And that's quite an accomplishment. Middlesex County, we got St. Joe's in there, and then locally, there's a lot of Bridgewater and Hillsborough and Huntington Central, pretty good swimming programs. So to qualify was quite an accomplishment, and congratulations to the boys and the girls. Chrissy LeBlanc is swimming tomorrow, and we have boys swimming tomorrow also in the state championships. So not only is girls basketball still going on, we got wrestling going on, and we've got swimming going on. 3 outstanding boy swimmer was Kyle King, Mark Marone, and Ryan Martinetti. And what's good about those names, King, Renone, and Martinetti, is like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, and for another year or so, you're going to be hearing the same names. It's like wrestling. If your brothers are swimmers, you're a swimmer.
Okay.
It's the families, they're really involved in the swimming, and it just stays in there. And like I said, with the swimming, Chelsea Carson and Christine Wang, 2 other girls, had great seasons for us. But Swimming, great season for them. We're really happy, and they had a banquet the other night. They were nice enough to invite me, and there was a lot of camaraderie and good time and fellowship there. It was fun to be there.
And lastly, let's talk about the wizard, as we call him, the one who's really set the tone, the standard for excellence in athletic training in the state of New Jersey, nationally, Phil Hostler. He's just a tremendous person, isn't he?
He's the best. He's in 3 or 4 Hall of Fames for athletic training, and without a doubt, he's the best in the state. And we're pretty lucky to have guys like Reggie Carney, who you just happened to mention, and Phil Hostler, and guys like Marcus, best coaches around. We're pretty lucky, and Phil just compliments them.
Are there any students who worked under Phil that you know of who have gone on to athletic
Yes,
training?
now you're going to ask me names. Okay.
No, I don't want you. Don't
Jonathan is a trainer in Long Branch, the South River trainer. Laura's in Scotch Plains. Barbara's her sister. She's in South River. So there's 3 off the top of my head.
Isn't that the stamp of really, you know, being able to give to others?
It's like when the kid you coach then later on becomes a good coach or becomes a coach. It's pretty good. So Phil's like the best. And Dan Gonchar, Mike Mattias, and Scott Pouchow, 3 kids that work with Phil and with teams this year, and we thank those guys for helping out.
Well, there's still snow on the ground. Spring sports are just around the corner. In a minute or less that we have, just tell us, are the fields going to be prepared?
We'll do the best we can. They're not, just like anyone else, they're not going to be ready. We have a schedule for a week and a half to be inside. But look out, as I told you about our track team, boys volleyball.
Right.
I don't want them to get a lot of publicity, but we could be a sleeper in the state this year. It's not that we're unknown, but we're going to be good. Boys lacrosse can be pretty good. Girls lacrosse should win the conference. Let me see. Tennis, we're going to be outstanding. We'll challenge anyone in tennis this year.
You don't want to miss anybody, I know.
No. I happen to be with Pelly today, and he's telling me we're good. We're good. We got a singles player who made it to the final 8 last year.
Well, you know, if it's East Brunswick sports, you know you can depend on quality, competition, and everything that's really good about this community. So with that, Frank Noppenberger, I want to thank you for joining us. This is Jimmy Allinder saying thanks for being with us.